What is going on, ladies and gentlemen to the tribe, and welcome back to another Galaxy of Heroes video with me, your bald-headed boy, Scribe. How the devil are you all doing? You are fantastic today, looking fabulous, darling, please. We thought we'd do something different for a video today, ladies and gentlemen. As we have come into the new year, I wanted to do a ranking, a tier list, if you will, of Galactic Legends as they exist in the game. We currently have 10 of them, and I imagine at some point in 2026 we will be getting the next Galactic Legend. But as of right now, the start of the year, I thought we should go around and rate them, and I'll try and give you my thoughts on why I think they belong in this position. Cool. So first and foremost, we do have 10 Galactic Legends. They were released in bottom right, essentially, to top left order. It's kind of like we are reading, is it Chinese? Is it the Chinese written language that sort of you read bottom right, top left? I don't know. I'm not very cultural, as you can tell, ladies and gentlemen. So Rey, Slacker, C, JML, they all kind of released in pairs at this point. Then it went JMK, then Lord Vader, then Jabba, then Leia, then Glat, then PK Hondo. For the most part, they've gone light side, dark side, light side, dark side, light side, dark side, with one exception, of course. Over here we had dark side, light side, light side, dark side. So presumably the next one will be light side, but it could just as well be dark side. We just never know. Could be neutral, but I doubt it. Anyway, should we get to the list? So we are going to start in reverse order, starting at number 10. It should come as no surprise to anybody at all. Number 10 has to be Geriatric Man, Sith Eternal Emperor. And this is not to say, and I want to make this absolutely clear, 0 GLs are garbage. None of them are worthless. They are all incredibly valuable. Even C, who I place at the bottom of the proverbial list over here. The reason I put C down so low is that he typically can be a lot of things on offense, but defensively speaking, unless there are some particularly powerful datacrons, and it does happen to have really powerful supporting comp units, such as maybe a full-blown Treya team with all the Omicrons, maybe also a very powerful Datacron that just so happens to help C, his defensive viability is essentially 0. His TB viability is okay at best, and certainly nothing to write home about. He can do stuff, but he's never pivotal, and he's very rarely a unit that you go in and be like, I'll just hit full auto. He can, of course, beat a lot of good things on defense. He can dismantle a lot of things, but a lot of the times the things that he's dismantling is not the latest meta, and if he is, he's desperately requiring something like C to be paired with Bane, or he's going to have a team comp that essentially gives you garbage banners. Stuff like having Watt and Armor and GBA and Thrawn. He's typically going to be the last person alive surviving like that, so whilst you might kill a unit that might be particularly useful, not necessarily massively reliable or good banners. He's still a great unit, he's very cheap to get, and he ties into a lot of farms. If you've got Executor, then you would have got Piet. You can just dip into some Imperial Troopers and some random Sith, and boom, bish bash bosh, real good nosh, you've got a geriatric old man and a good GL to boot. So yes, I would place C at number 10, unfortunately for his sins. Coming in next at number 9, my favourite, JML was my favourite GL for a long time. He's great fun to use. However, in the current Relic Delta meta, he has kind of been pseudo-nerfed because of the way that inherited teachings work. When you pass that ability to another Jedi, the damage that it's dealt is based on 60% of JML's max protection. However, it takes into account the Relic Delta of the unit you're calling to assist. So if you're targeting an R9 unit and using an R5 Jedi, call them to assist, you're going to operate at a Relic Delta negative of 4, which is going to massively reduce your incoming and outgoing damage. Whilst that is largely solved by just having lots of high relic Jedi, guys, just whale more and get more relic levels, it has made him a little bit weaker in my opinion. I am also a little bit concerned with the advent of Satele Shan, Mommy Satele Shan coming into the game, stealing Jedi Knight Revan essentially from JML. If she is actually that useful to do that, to take away Jedi Knight Revan from a JML team, it does weaken the team a little bit, because Jedi Knight Revan is a very valuable member of the JML team, and JML just seems to be lacking a bit of oomph. That being said, JML has got some amazing capabilities elsewhere in the game. Conquest, he is very, very useful if you ever need to get any feats that have anything to do with light side units. That could be like attacking units, so applying buffs or debuffs when they use their basic, or it can be stuff like get kills with this light side unit. It used to be better before Relic Delta was a thing, of course, and I know Relic Delta's not in Conquest yet, but it will be. It will be. It won't be in this next set, maybe the set after, who knows? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. It's all a mystery to us. That does prove to be very useful, and he is okay in TB once again, but he just doesn't feel like he really has that oomph that a lot of the other GLs have in the PvP environment. Still very, very good, still takes out a lot of things. I would say probably a little bit better than C in terms of offensive capabilities, but once again, defensively, JML right now, unless he's got a nutty Datacron like we saw with the Hondo Datacron, just not that great of a defensive GL. Still very, very valuable and ties into a lot of other farms. Like if you've got Jabba, for example, it's easy to pivot into JML because they share quite a lot of requirements, essentially. Coming in next then, my boy Lord Failure. Now, don't get me wrong, Lord Vader is actually a very, very powerful Galactic Legend in PvP terms. He can do a lot, especially if you've got a lot of high relic investment in your dark side clones, and there happens to be a good Datacron that can go ahead and supplement his capabilities. Unfortunately, there is a reason why we call him Lord Failure, and it's just because it seems to get countered by a lot of non-Galactic Legend teams as of late. Those have been muted a little bit in recent months with recent Datacron sets, but typically I don't find him to be that reliable of a defensive or offensive team, and usually not that great banners offensively in my experience. He can still get some really good holds on defense if you've got your Datacrons tuned in, if you've got your modding tuned in, and you've got lots of relic levels, that's all great. And I think as the game continues to vertically progress into more relic levels, I think that Lord Vader's team is a team that will benefit quite heavily from that. He has a lot of synergy that comes in from increasing mastery and based on the relic levels of his allies from his ultimate. So the more relic levels you have, the better he becomes exponentially so. So if that continues to be the path, and if we keep on getting Relic 11 and Relic 12 and Relic 13, I think he will get better and better as he ages, like a fine wine, because we do know that Anakin likes to whine. Overall though, PvP, he's decent. He's decent. Nothing spectacular unless he has a really broken cron, and that does happen. And in PvE game modes, he's pretty reliable. Dark side clones in Rise of the Empire TB, you can pretty much hit full auto. There is a bit of a side benefit as well to Lord Vader, that if you invest in his dark side clone team, you've got a very good raid team. Now, we don't know how long the Order 66 raid is going to last. I have a feeling it's going to last for most of 2026, but we don't know if that's going to be the case, so that value might dip back a little bit. Anyway, Lord Vader is still good, but he is my number 8. Coming in at number 7, one of the OG Galactic Legends over here, Rabies and her babies. I love Rey because she is a flexible character. She's a very flexible character. This comes from an age where Galactic Legends were less prescriptive in their synergies, right? You look at Lord Vader, it's kind of like get the dark side clones, or maybe you use Maul with some Empire units, right? JMK is a very prescribed team, not quite as prescribed as something like PK Hondo, for example. Rey is light side. She does have some benefits for resistance, but let's be honest, unless we get some more resistance in the game, you're just not going to be using resistance with Rey, unless there happens to be a specific Datacron that really leans into it. However, that does mean she has got a lot of plug-and-play viability. She has a lot of theory crafting capabilities as well. So currently we're using her with Ben Solo, and maybe you're using her with Ezra Bridger Exile, maybe you're using her with Barriss and the Barriss Cron, maybe you're using her with Cal, OG Cal, stuff like that. She's got a lot of viability, and typically speaking, she performs very, very well, either defensively or offensively. Mostly she leans into a defensive team because she can be a real pain to take down with the right Datacron and with the right team setup. I do find her very, very useful. She's a lot of fun, highly recommend, and I suppose the only downside to it is in this day and age, she's not really tied to any other farm. She's one of the easier Galactic Legends to unlock, but much of the later Galactic Legends have got a lot of cross-pollination in their requirements. Rey's kind of out there on the side. She doesn't really, unless you get a lightspeed bundle for her, you don't typically go and get her. Now, I'm not recommending people just go out and wail, because realistically, with these sorts of GLs, you do need their lifter unit. Rey's is Ben, okay? Rey's is Ben, unfortunately, and she is markedly different with Ben compared to without. So I like her because she's got good flexibility, offensive, defensives, lots of viability throughout the entire lifespan of her game. Good in Rise of the Empire TB as well. Doesn't have any economy events or anything like that, but overall a solid Galactic Legend. Coming in next, her big brother. That's right, Slacker. I know a lot of people will probably berate me for not putting Slacker higher. Slacker is a phenomenal offensive powerhouse. He's garbage on defense, in my opinion. The only reason he's getting any sort of viability on defense right now is because he has a first order datacron that particularly leans into him. When that disappears, he has zero viability on defense. Even with his lifter unit, Darkside Vision Rey, he's not really a defensive team. Unless, this is based on Kyber 1 experience, not based on, when you've got 3 GLs or 1 GL or whatever. Obviously this is going to be based on my perspectives as a Kyber 1 player. Slacker is very, very useful as an offensive toolbox. He is almost like your get out of jail free card. You'll be like, oh, I need to kill a certain team. Good job I have Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, because he's going to get it done. The reason I don't place him higher is because of the zero defensive viability, and offensively, even if he does perform very well, typically speaking, the garbage banners really bring him down in value. If you're full clearing a team, like you beat a Rey Ezra team with Slacker, but you're only got Slacker left alive because of his ultimate, it's like, that's great and everything, the one tap is cool, but you got 55 banners or whatever it is, 50 banners, or I can't even remember. You get low banners, all right? He is very, very good. Once again, one of the cheaper GLs to get, not the cheapest, but outside of the normal farming paths. So Lightspeed bundles help that, I guess, but very, very good GL. And compared to Rey, he doesn't need Darkside Vision Rey. Rey needs Ben. He doesn't need Darkside Vision Rey to be effective, and that is a real good plus. Next up is JMK. I would historically put this guy higher, but it feels like every single release that CG puts out, they have to include something to knock down JMK in viability. And it can just be a standard legendary, or even marquees these days just have clauses in there that give them instant defeat immunity, or they can revive, or they can't have their revives prevented, or, all that sort of gubbins. Bonus protection, extra damage. He is still very, very good in terms of offensive capabilities. Defensive, he's lost a lot of his viability because teams just always seem to release with a JMK clause baked in. His biggest hamstring is, for early game accounts, if you do not have Commander Ahsoka Tano, there is no reason to get JMK. He loses all sorts of viability if you do not have Commander Ahsoka Tano, and she is a conquest unit, which makes her a real pain in the tuchus to unlock. So take that into consideration when you think about JMK. Very, very good GL. Can beat a lot of teams. Almost everything he can beat, offensively speaking. There are things he can't deal with, like he doesn't do particularly well against teams like Glat. He doesn't do particularly well against teams like Pirate King Hondo and things like that, but he's still relatively viable. He also doesn't have much in terms of economy events. Still very good in Rise of the Empire TB, so his PvE performance is still really, really solid. All right. Coming up next, then, we are moving on to one of our more recent GLs, Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano. I'll probably get a lot of kickback for putting Glat this high. She is incredibly good if you use Ezra with her. If you've got Ezra in her team, she is incredibly powerful. Now, you do have to make sure that you have modded the team correctly to avoid certain counters, and you do have to have good levels of relic investments to benefit. But particularly in Territory Wars, with her Territory War Omicrons on her team, between Padawan Sabine Wren and General Syndulla, it is one of the best defensive teams in Territory War. In GAC, with current Tankron setups and stuff like that, and the Omicrons over on Ezra becomes a real nightmare. The only real issue with Glat is when you take Ezra away, she becomes mostly useless. Right now, we've got tank datacrons, you can pump up that health, throw in Watt, and you can probably time out a lot of things, even things like Great Mothers that like to counter her. But generally speaking, unless you've got one of the few counters that are available to GL Ahsoka Tano, she is going to be a pain and she will get some good holds. Also, she has eventually now gotten her own economy event, so you can actually do that. You can get free Padawan Sabine Wren shards if you've not unlocked the GL. Failing that, you can get Gerda keypads and Omicrons from the R9 tier of this particular Galactic Legend. And because she is a 10th Galactic Legend, you're going to want to take her to R9 anyway because they benefit the most out of the entire game. R10 is another matter. I'm not sure I would be R10ing Glat immediately. There are probably 4 or 5 other choices that would go before her, but she is actually a very solid GL, particularly when it comes to Territory War. In Rise of the Empire TB, her team is just full auto on everything. You just go boop, full auto, even without the TB Omicron that exists on Hu Yang. No idea if that's any good. Don't need it. You're just like, go forth and win. Even on later stages, when you are going on, which one is it? I can't remember. The ice planet that we see in Solo. When you're going through on that planet, you can go in with just Glat and just Ezra Exile and hit full auto and you will win 2 out of 2 every single time. It's great. She's really, really good there. I like no-brain, rote teams. And if I can do that with just 2 units, happier days for me. Coming in next, I'm throwing in Pirate King Hondo Onaka. This guy is awesome. I know he's being heavily carried right now with the Pirate Datacron, but even without it, he is still a force to be reckoned with, offensively speaking, in this game, and he will continue to benefit from Datacrons in the future. He's also got raid team viability. Right now, Pirates are just so good in the raid. So good. He's got a duo team between himself and one of his own requirements, which is required at Relic 9 to duo the top tier of that event. Very useful there. 3.6 million straight away, and feeds into things like conquest feats and all that sort of good business. He also has Smuggler's Run 3, which is the best mod economy event in the entire game. It's better than the Jabba one by 50%, and we still haven't got the second tier, which is better again. So once that event comes out and releases, Pirate King Hondo's value increases even further. TW, he's a very good defensive TW team and offensive. PvP right now, he can go on either side of the fence. Now, the downside to him is, of course, very expensive to get. New units, lots of Relic 9s, just like Glat. So that does kind of hamper things, but eventually you will want to get every Galactic Legend, and he is by no means a bad one to get. One of the best, in my opinion. So we have got 2 GLs left on the board today, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know which one you think is going to be next in the comment section down below. Give me a quick like while you're there as well, please. Pretty pleased with a cherry on top. All right, number 2 for me is, and I apologize for the picture, Jabba the Hutt. This is a really low-res image. I wish I had a better, clearer image of the Jabba the Hutt kit reveal, but it seems to have disappeared off the planet. Anyway, Jabba the Hutt. I put him in second because he just has eternal viability, essentially, both offensively, defensively. Rise of the Empire TB, his Hutt Cartel faction, full auto everything, and he's got specific missions within the mixed zone through every single planet. He just wins. He just wins. Now, recently, defensively, he has been coming scuppered. More and more counters are coming out to him, but he is still a very tricky team to get around. Lots of Datacrons really do benefit him. We've seen that recent Boba Fett FDC one, where Boba Fett is in the lead with Jabba. That can be a bit of a pain. And of course, he has got Smuggler's Run 2 as event. That's the second best mod slicing event that you can get. Really, really valuable to have Jabba in your account just to really improve your mod score over time. Mods are eternal. They are the Datacrons that never disappear, basically. You can never have enough mods, and he is one of the best ways to improve your mod score. Pirate King Hondo is objectively better, but Jabba is much easier to acquire. You can get him much quicker, all of his units are accelerated, far fewer relic levels are required, and he still does very, very well in offensive game modes. I love Jabba the Hutt. I love him. He's just a really solid unit. Now that does leave one last unit, and Leia for me is just always going to be the queen for GLs. She is the deadliest GL, offensively speaking, I feel like. All you need is really good modding and high relic levels on your Leia and Drogon will just one-tap a unit. If you've got enough modding on him and you've got good Datacrons and stuff like that, they can basically just delete anything that is a problem. Things like Ezra Exile and so forth. Again, being able to instantly remove that and also be, from a GAC perspective, one of the most safest teams to use in terms of banner efficiency, is incredibly valuable. She works both offensively and defensively with the right team setup. She is always a problem to deal with. Yes, she has counters. Every Galactic Legend has counters, but she just brings the most value in my opinion. A lot of her requirements are not too bad as well. Having things like Captain Rex to improve your Phoenix team is quite nice. Nisa is there for the furry faction, I guess, for those people that are that way inclined. You know, I don't judge here. But overall, she's just phenomenal. She does have an economy event as well, and it's garbage. It's better than nothing, but it basically gives you Ewok shards, and you've got some chance to get some relic materials and an Omicron or 3. I've never had 3 Omicrons from Leia's event. I've only ever had 1, and I've never seen any useful relic materials, but it is still better than not having an economy event at all. She doesn't need a lifter unit, which is great. And if somebody in the chat says she needs Drogon as a lifter unit, Drogon is not a lifter unit. He's a core part of the team. He's part of the farm. It's different to having Commander Ahsoka Tano or like Bane for C if you want to go that far, Darkside Vision Ray for Slacker. Those are external farms that are required to make the team work. Drogon is a requirement for her farm, therefore he is a unit, not a lifter. All right, and same goes for R2-D2. Yeah, she's got a really good team. TW, GAC, fantastic there. Great in Rise of the Empire TB. Just overall, really solid unit. Can be a problem for the opponents if they're trying to chew through you. And she's not got the hardest requirements in the world. It's not the easiest, of course, but certainly not the hardest. Yep, absolutely love this girl. And that, I think, is going to do our rankings. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what your thoughts are on the tier list of Galactic Legends at the start of 2026. And what do you think is going to be the Galactic Legend for 2026? I'll see you all in the very next video. Peace out, and may the Force be with you.